My grandson asked me last Thursday if I was proud of my career. We were sitting in my kitchen. He's 29, works in tech, always on his laptop, and he asked it like you'd ask about the weather. Simple question, but I'm 81 years old, and I sat there for a long time before I could answer him. Because the truth, the real truth, it's complicated in ways I never expected. I spent 50 years building something, not just working, building. I was a regional director for a manufacturing company, started on the factory floor at 23, worked my way up through every department. By 45, I was running operations for the entire Midwest. I had an office on the 14th floor with windows that overlooked the whole city. I had a secretary who knew my coffee order. I had a parking spot with my name on it. I thought I was building a legacy. We're taught that your work is your worth. That's the deal, right? You put in the hours, you climb the ladder, you earn respect. And if you do it long enough, well enough, you become irreplaceable. That's what I believed, not because I was stupid or blind, but because everyone around me believed it too. My father worked 43 years at the same steel mill. When he retired, they gave him a watch and a handshake from the plant manager. He kept that watch on his dresser until the day he died, looked at it every morning. That's what you did. You gave your life to your work, and your work gave you identity, purpose, proof that you mattered. I believe this because I saw it work. My bosses, men in their 60s when I was starting out, they had power. Respect. When they walked into a room, people stood up. When they spoke, people listened. I wanted that, so I did what they did. I worked late. I worked weekends. I missed birthdays and recitals and anniversary dinners. But I told myself it was temporary, just until I got established. Just until I made director. Just until I secured the pension. Just until, for 50 years, I lived by this. And everyone around me seemed to agree it was the right choice. Let me tell you about Tom Henrickson. He worked down the hall from me for almost 20 years. Same level as me, director of logistics while I ran operations. We started around the same time, had similar trajectories. But Tom was different in one way that used to puzzle me. He left at 40:30, every single day. Didn't matter if there was a crisis. Didn't matter if the quarterly reports were due. Didn't matter if the VP was still in the building. At 40:30, Tom packed up his briefcase and went home. I used to think he wasn't serious, wasn't committed. I'd be there until 7, 8 at night, and I'd see his dark office and feel this little surge of superiority. I'm the one who cares. I'm the one who'll move up. I'm the one building something real. Tom had this ritual. Every Tuesday and Thursday he coached his daughter's soccer team. He told me once, we were both around 52, maybe 53, that he'd never missed a practice in 8 years. Not one. He said it casually, like it wasn't even an achievement. I remember thinking that's nice, but does he understand what it takes to really succeed? Tom retired at 68. 3 years before I did. I remember his retirement party in the conference room, sheet cake, warm soda, the usual speeches. They thanked him for his service, gave him a plaque. He shook hands, smiled, and left. I barely paid attention. I had another 3 years to go, more to prove, more to build. Tom died 7 years later. I went to his funeral. The church was packed. Standing room only. His 3 daughters spoke. All of them. Each one had stories about Tuesday pizza nights, about camping trips in the Boundary Waters, about how he taught them to change oil, to negotiate for themselves, to stand up to bullies, about how he came to every single one of their college graduations, drove 12 hours round trip for one of them, about how he knew their friends' names, their partners' names, their children's names. His oldest daughter said something I'll never forget. She said, "Dad knew exactly who he was. He knew what mattered. And he never pretended work was more important than us." I sat in that pew, and I realized I couldn't remember the last time my own daughter had called me just to talk. I was 71 when I retired, 71 years old. They had a party for me too, bigger than Tom's, actually. Vice president flew in from corporate. They gave me a crystal award with my name engraved on it. 23 people from my department showed up. Speeches about my dedication, my leadership, my impact on the company's growth. It felt good. It felt like validation. Like 50 years had meant something. I handed in my keycard on a Friday afternoon, cleaned out my desk, files and coffee mugs, and a photo of my wife from 1985. I drove home in the middle of the afternoon, something I'd almost never done. I remember pulling into my driveway at 20:30, and the house was so quiet. My wife was at her book club. I sat in my car for 20 minutes, not sure what to do next. Monday morning, I woke up at 50:30 like always, made coffee, showered, put on a shirt and tie before I remembered I had nowhere to go. That first week was strange, but I told myself it was just adjustment. I'd earned this rest. I'd built something. I was respected. I mattered there. Then I stopped getting the emails. First, the daily operations reports made sense. I wasn't operations anymore. Then the department newsletters. Then the company-wide announcements. Within 3 weeks, my inbox was just spam and sales circulars. I called a few times, just checking in, seeing how the Hendricks project turned out. Wanted to see if you needed any advice on the new logistics software. My replacement, a guy named Marcus, sharp kid, maybe 39, was always polite, but busy, always busy. After the fourth call, I felt pathetic. 6 months after I retired, they reorganized the entire department, eliminated my old position, combined it with another role. All those systems I'd spent decades building, changed in a quarterly meeting I didn't even know happened. I drove by the office once, about 8 months after I left. My parking spot, the one with my name on it, for 18 years, it had someone else's name now. Some woman I'd never heard of. They'd just painted over mine. That's when it hit me. Really hit me. I hadn't built a legacy. I'd filled a position. And positions get filled by someone else. There's this coffee mug that sits in my kitchen cabinet. I haven't used it in years, but I can't throw it away. It's white ceramic with the company logo and the words 25 years of service, printed in gold letters that are mostly faded now. They gave it to me in 2003. I was 56 years old. There was a breakfast in the executive dining room, probably 15 other people getting their 25-year awards that morning. I remember holding that mug and feeling this deep sense of accomplishment. 25 years. Most people don't stay anywhere that long. It meant something. It meant I was loyal, valuable. Part of something bigger than myself. I brought it home and showed my wife. She smiled and said, "That's nice, honey," and put it in the cabinet with the others. At the time, I thought she didn't understand its significance. My daughter was visiting that weekend. She lived 3 states away by then, only made it home a few times a year. She was 28, maybe 29, working in marketing, always stressed about deadlines and office politics. She picked up the mug, looked at it, and said, "Do they pay you extra for 25 years? No," I said. "It's not about money. It's about recognition." She set the mug down carefully. "Dad, does your company even know your favorite coffee? Like, if I asked your boss what you drink, would he know?" I didn't answer because I knew he wouldn't. I barely saw him except in quarterly reviews. Now that mug sits in my cabinet, and every time I open that door, I see it. 25 years of service. But here's what gets me: the company didn't serve me. I served it. And when I stopped serving it, when I stopped being useful, it forgot me before the gold lettering even finished fading. My wife knew. That day I brought the mug home. When she said, "That's nice," and put it away, she knew exactly what it was worth. She'd been trying to tell me for decades, in 100 different ways. But I was too busy earning mugs to listen. It took me a long time to really understand what I'd traded. Not months, years. I kept thinking retirement would feel different once I adjusted, that I'd find hobbies, make friends, fill the time, and I did some of that. I learned to garden, started going to the community center, but something felt hollow. I started small. I called my daughter more. At first it was awkward. We didn't really know how to talk to each other beyond pleasantries. "How's work? Fine. Dad, how's retirement?" Surface level. But I kept calling. Every Wednesday evening. Eventually the calls got longer. She started telling me about her life, real things, not just highlights. Her struggles, her hopes, her fears about becoming a parent herself. Over the years, I've learned to just be here, present. When my grandson visits, I put my phone in the drawer. We make pancakes, we talk about his life, we sit on the porch and watch the birds. I don't have anywhere more important to be anymore. Because there isn't anywhere more important. I started writing letters to my grandkids. Real letters on paper, mailed to their houses. Just small things, stories from my childhood, advice about kindness, observations about what matters. My daughter told me they keep them in a box. That might be the only legacy I actually build. Now, at 81, I'm happier than I was at 45. That sounds impossible, but it's true. I have less money, less status, less proof of my importance. But I have coffee with my wife every morning without checking my watch. I know my grandson's friends' names. I can tell you what my daughter worries about at 3 a.m. These things didn't exist in my life before, not really. I was too busy building something that forgot me. I'm still working on this. Some days I catch myself falling into old patterns, treating lunch with a friend like an obligation to schedule between more important tasks. But then I remember there are no more important tasks. They never really were.